Billions of dollars are spent on leadership training globally and even in North America alone every year.
Wow.
How do we make training effective, and how do we get the most investment spent so that we're not throwing money down the drain? In fact, check this out. According to research.com, in 2019 alone, it was estimated that $370 billion globally on leadership training and $170 almost billion in North America alone was spent on training leaders. Now, as a leadership consultant and someone that owns a consultancy that does leadership training and executive coaching and organizational transformation work, one of the questions we get all the time is how do we make training effective and how do we get the most out of the investment? And so today I'm going to give you 5 strategies so that you can optimize the investment into the leadership training that you're doing this year and into the future. These 5 tips are evergreen, whether you're investing in something this year or 3 years from now. The first tip is all about evaluation of what the core problem is. And so ironically, a lot of times an organization will look at an issue and think that we need emotional intelligence training or communication training or influence training, some other leadership competency that is very necessary. Well, that all might be true. And some of the best work we can do prior to investing in training is to do some analysis around, is the area of development the actual area that we need to be spending money on and developing in our leaders? And in fact, we at our firm, Arc Integrated, have a process for this. It's called our discovery experience. And if you want a shortcut to how to analyze the real competencies that are necessary to develop, under this video, just drop in the comments discovery and I'll send you a free resource. Tip number 2, when you're investing in leadership training, is to make the experience experiential. What does that mean? It means involving everybody in the room and mining the knowledge that they have so that they feel they're massively contributing to the conversation and they're actually having dialogue and resource sharing with those that are in the room, which is different from some training out there, which is more one way where you're just disseminating information. Our point of view is that when we mine the gold that's in the room, AKA the wisdom of the leaders in the room, the output that we get and the results that we get from the investment is drastically improved. Tip number 3 is what happens after training. So after you go through a few days of training on communication, let's say as a leadership development competency, the question often becomes, well, how do you take this and carry it forward? One of the ways you can do that is to assign leaders that might lead discussion groups or ways to operationalize the learnings that came from the training. Another way you can do this is to pair executive coaching with training. And let me show you something that's pretty interesting related to that. So check this out. According to one research study, when they looked at training alone, it increased productivity by 22%. But when it was combined with coaching, it increased to 88%, an 88% change in productivity. And a lot of research shows this. When we combine coaching with training, the results are drastically different. Tip number 4, when investing in leadership development, is to not make it an event-based training, meaning a one and done, right? If you're investing in any kind of leadership competency, the idea is that you probably will gain some traction in a day or 2 of training, but the reality is a lot of these competencies take much longer time to develop. So turning one training into a training series can be a way to ensure that not only your leaders are getting the skills that they need, but the investment is having a massive ROI. Lastly, tip number 5 is to build a culture of learning. Now, if you're watching this, your organization may already have a really good culture of learning, and that is an embraced value in the organization. If so, awesome. A way to take that a step further even is to figure out a way to reward the efforts, the behaviors, the change that you're seeing in the employees that are exhibiting the behaviors of the leadership competencies that you're wanting to develop.